My name is Mariah Starr. Most of you know me. I'm an adjunct lecturer here, professor of political science at Lehman College. This is a presentation of the Lehman College Political Club, and the title for today's event is Inspiration, Incubation, and Cultivation. So, inspiration is the generation of ideas, brainstorming. Incubation is turning the idea from the initial concept into a finished product, either a service or some sort of organization. And cultivation is in taking that finished concept or product and bringing it out to the world. So today we have with us people who are experts in that. To my left is Veronique Marchal, who is the founder of And Action, or as we say, And Action!
Oh, I love it.
An event organization. They help to bring people together to discuss political problems and brainstorm solutions. In the middle is Jason Page. He is with Generation Engage. Generation Engage is an organization that helps bring the public into a dialogue with politicians and other public figures. And Tara Padua, she is a life coach. And she works with accomplishment coaching. And she helps people to bring their motivations and brainstorming creativity into the final product. Okay, so we're going to go in sequence. First, Veronique Marchal, then Tara Padua, then Jason Page. So, shall we start?
Okay, well, I guess I'm representing the inspiration part of our talk today. So I'm going to keep what I say personal. I'll tell you a little bit about my story and how I got inspired to start And Action. It really goes back to 2002. I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and I had been teaching French in a school on 9/11. And so a year later, I was very aware that every school in this country was going to have to come together and address and honor the one-year anniversary. And I wanted to just get people together and create groups to address embracing religious diversity. And as I was preparing, a friend of mine said, oh, well, if you want to talk about uniting America, you should read this report. So before I know it, I'm getting a report in the mail from a group called the American Assembly, and I have never heard about them. The American Assembly is actually an affiliate of Columbia University that Dwight Eisenhower started in 1950 when he was president of the university. And at any rate, this report blew my socks off. It was a 4-year study called Uniting America, and they looked at every issue from education to healthcare to incarceration to even alcoholism. So all those issues were great. But their ultimate recommendation, and what really just made me go wow, was, and they were unanimous on making this recommendation, whereas everything else, of course, there were disclaimers that said, oh, we don't all agree, we don't all agree. But here, everyone that got together over the 4 years said, well, what the country most needs is a national dialogue. And this dialogue has to happen on a very grassroots level, and will happen only if the private and public sector comes together. And up until then, I had spent time as a publicist and a marketing person in professional sports. I had worked for the NBA and women's tennis, so I'd worked with Nike and Gatorade and companies like that. So when I read that sentence that the public and private sector came together, I'm thinking Nike, I'm thinking Gatorade. I'm thinking, yeah, it's really about those companies making this dialogue happen. Not so that it's cool, but so that it's social. That when I show up somewhere, I don't necessarily want it to feel like I'm in church or like I'm at school. I want to be eating, I want to be drinking, I want to be watching a movie, I want to be watching a music video, something that helps to make it social. So that was 2002, and obviously that wasn't paying the bills. So I come back to New York for a job that I didn't really want. I won't tell you who it was with, I won't say anything bad about them. And I was let go in 2005, and in 2006, I'm watching the Academy Awards, and that year, I don't know how many of you are big movie fans, but that was a year that had a lot of social, Crash, Good Night and Good Luck, Syriana, An Inconvenient Truth, Brokeback Mountain, even Transgender America. I mean, there wasn't really a mainstream, popcorn movie that was even up for an award. And as I watched the awards, I felt like every director and actor not only being asked the same question, but giving the same tap dance answer. And the question was, well, why do you make a movie like this? You know, and they all said, well, hey, we're not saying we have the answers. We just want to be part of asking the questions. And then the second half of the phrase was always, you know, we ask questions that we hope become part of the national dialogue. So there I was like, oh my God, there it is again, now national dialogue. And I was like, wow, what better way to get a dialogue going socially by first watching a film so that you give everyone a common experience, and then you can get into the issues. So that's where I started, and staying with the theme of movies, I was like, oh, that's it. Well, I'll just call it and action. You know, what does it take for someone to get to a place of choosing action? What does it take? It takes a lot. So that's, I started doing a lot of research on dialogue groups, and what I came up with and what I've created is an event format called an action shop. It's not a workshop, it's an action shop. And the action shop is a process that links, well, I call them the democratic freedom of expression rights. You know, we live in a free society and there are certain rights that we have that we know we have or we don't. And the first big right that we have, which we've been talking about, as we've been talking about the media, it is our right to access information. You know, whether it's filtered or whatever, it's there for us. And that falls into then, you know, knowledge is power, and your opinion then starts to be informed. So your first challenge that an action shop helps you deal with is the challenge of accessing information. And for that, I came up with a product, which is an action kit, which profiles everything from NGOs, which are non-governmental organizations on an issue, legislative initiatives, news articles, blogs, you know, kind of just what if your friend went and spent 5 hours on Googling an issue for you and did it from a nonpartisan place. So, really quickly, an action shop first links your freedom to access information, then it gives you the opportunity to exercise your freedom to express your opinion, so it's a place where you get to talk, and then it gives you space to choose action, your freedom to take action to support your opinion, but again in a nonpartisan social place, where if you don't want to take action, that's okay. And sometimes that's tough when you show up at an advocacy group where they're all gung-ho, and for whatever reason you don't want to, you can't, you're busy, a million reasons why you don't feel comfortable. So I really wanted to create a space where anything goes. You know, if you just want to come and use it to access your information, great. You want to show up and just listen as part of the opinion and not talk, don't talk. So that's what I have created, and the way these events work is I'm in the process of reaching out to corporations that I feel would either benefit you. So if I was getting you all together on, let's say, one of the 3 issues that I've ready is, you know, living a greener life. You know, one of the things, you know, we all kind of agree we need to be making more green decisions and choices, but, you know, how do we do that? So, you know, in the action kit, I have a friend that took the time to read Mayor Bloomberg's 200-page, you know, kick your ass plan, and, you know, who has time to do that? And just to summarize it down. So if I was getting you all together, I'd be like, well, you know, who do I want? You know, do I want Nike? I mean, like, what would make it so that you would enjoy showing up? And part of what Nike would do, first of all, is part of the sponsorship fee would be earmarked for an action fund, so that at the end of your dialogue, whatever ideas you came up with, you would have a place to, hi, thanks for coming. You would have a place to say, hey, I've got an idea for doing this in my dorm or doing this on campus, and Nike might be a part of giving you that money. So the last thing I want to say, that's kind of my little story and what I'm creating, is the flip side of, and this fits into a little bit of the life coaching. You know, I just put on a big smile. I told you a nice little story, or at least I thought I tried to. And when you try and go after your dream, and when you do, it's not easy all the time. And, you know, Mariah, a few weeks ago, gave me this wonderful DVD pack of PBS. They had done this Social Entrepreneurs Change the World, you know, and Robert Redford was honoring these wonderful people. And And, you know, it's just it was a pretty picture, you know, like, oh, great, and, you know, these people are getting saved here, and these people are, and yet, what I've gone through and what I, you know, wanna help set up for the life coach conversation is, it's, you know, I've had challenging times with my own family, with my own friends, who, you know, everything from just, you're not making any money, why are you doing this, to, you know, well, why are you taking on women's rights in the Congo, you know, have you been to Africa, you know, just dealing with so much, well, judgment, worry, my own self-confidence issues. Um, so I just want to kind of put out there that part of choosing to be a social entrepreneur, I feel, fits into choosing to be an empowered citizen.